Sydney, known for its housing crisis, reliable public transport system, and being one of the most expensive places to live. So why did I move here in the first place? Well, a big city means more opportunities, including more jobs, more people to befriend or date, and more events to go to. So Sydney becomes a one-way ticket for aspiring Australians and international students to make it big. The thing is, when people mention Sydney, they only mean here. Anything on the west side of the city doesn't exist, because this is where all the opportunities are. So you're in the city. Firstly, you need to find a place to live. So let's do some maths here. The minimum wage is $24.10 an hour, which comes to $800 a week, including tax. So if we browse the rent options in the city, you would find something like this. This one-bedroom apartment in the city looks pretty nice and it's really modern, but the catch is that you literally cannot afford it, and this theme shares with other one-bedroom apartments. So getting a roommate or two is essential to actually making the places affordable. This place brings down the rent to $600 per week each, which means you have $200 left. Groceries $100, going out $50, and then public transport another $50, which leaves you nothing. It's pretty obvious that the city is not affordable for someone who just moved to Sydney and isn't coming from a rich family, so you gotta make compromises. Oh wait, what's this? Sunny room for rent in the Sydney CBD? $300 a week? That's really good for the price. Ah yes, a tiny enclosed balcony that can only squeeze in a bed and desk with curtains as your only privacy. That's barely a room, bro. I found this room in Asa's Shitty Rentals, which showcases similar rental places like this typically around Australia. It represents landlords trying to rent out shitholes or small sections of their houses they claim to be living spaces, just to make the most money, and they can get away with this because they know that there are so many desperate people coming to Sydney wanting a place to live in, but not enough places for people to move in. So why not create a bunch of shitty house listings just to exploit the housing crisis? It's a topic that most Australians constantly have to hear about, and it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse. I'm just sick of hearing about it, because I already know that we are also doomed. There's no chance of home ownership. I already gave up on that dream. So because of all of this, it's pretty unrealistic to live in the city. So this is where you have to consider other places in Sydney that aren't the city. That's right, you have to go to the west. The thing with Australia is that it's known to be a very diverse country, and with a big city like Sydney, these communities often segregate within their own areas. We have prominent Chinese areas in mainly Haymarket, Burwood, Hurstville, and half of Sydney at this point. It's expected since the highest non-English population in Sydney is China, and you would see plenty of signs with Chinese characters written on them, and groups filled with a bunch of international students or Chinese immigrants. The best thing about these Chinese areas are the food, and there's a checklist to find the best Chinese restaurants. Firstly, all the employees have to speak mostly Mandarin, with little to no English, as well as showing no customer skills whatsoever. So when you go on Google Maps, just ignore all the reviews that complain about how the staff are rude, because that's not going to affect the food. The menu have to be primarily in Mandarin or given in a crusty laminated sheet of paper, and then discounts when you pay in cash, because they're clearly avoiding a certain law about work restrictions. Have everything in this list ticked off, and that's when you know you're going to have the most authentic Chinese food in the country. So moving over to this area is the Inner West, which is a blend of white cultures like Italian and English, along with having Newtown, which stands out because of its old culture and LGBT communities. So expect a lot of thrift stores, cafes, and hipsters. Perfect for all the lefties and Ramona Flowers lookalikes. We got the eastern suburbs like Bondi and Double Bay, basically the places that are near the beaches. Honestly, I've never been in this area before because I'm too much of a broke boy to enter here. Because this is where the upper class people reside. Houses, $6 million. Salaries, above 200k a year, and these are the average. You see expensive cars being driven around the streets, high-end shopping, and a lack of fast food places since they like to eat pacificatedly with their $33 sandwiches. If you think living in the city is expensive, then you really have no chance here. Opposing that is the Bankstown area. My first impression here was when I was buying a burger at a food truck and I just hear a random gunshot, which makes me jump up and look around if I was getting shot at. But instead, I look at the unfazed crowd waiting to order their burger. Just another day at Bankstown, I guess. Although, it is worth coming here to see the New Year's fireworks, because who did it better? The New South Wales government spending $6.3 million on the fireworks show that lasts for 10 minutes, or a bunch of Lebanese people illegally shooting fireworks in the neighborhood all night. It also happened in Auburn and Granville, which is a part of the Parramatta area. It's a very developed area which gives it the title of Sydney's second CBD, as well as being culturally diverse, especially known for its Indian population. Down to the southwest, we have the battle between the Arabics and the Vietnamese. From what I heard, it was originally just Asians, mainly Vietnamese people, but then the Arabs started taking over the place, leaving the Viets with Parramatta and the Canley area. It's actually pretty trippy as fuck walking around here, since it's like you're transported to Vietnam. You don't even feel like a foreigner, you become the foreigner, as everyone speaks Vietnamese and you succumb to eating pho or banh mi. That's not really an issue because they're really good though. The Mount Druitt area. Full ghetto. We have the top 10 most dangerous suburbs in Sydney. Number 1, Mount Druitt. 3,021 serious crimes recorded in a year. Highest number of domestic violent assaults. Highest number of break-ins, vandalism, arson, a case of homicide, and the list goes on. We have a show called Housos, a satirical parody of low-income Australian residents living in public housing, relying on government money, smoking bongs all day, and having that thick Aussie accent that no one can understand. This show is basically a snapshot of what Mount Druitt is like. So next to Mount Druitt is Blacktown. But if you close your eyes... I know these places sound less glamorous than the city, but you have to live in these areas to actually afford a place. And the further west you go, the cheaper the rent gets. An example is in Bankstown, where you find places to rent for half the price of the city. But the issue is that you have to live in Bankstown. Apart from that, being further away from the city reduces the job opportunities, since a lot of higher paying jobs are in that area. And you also sacrifice a lot of time and money spending $50 a week traveling via public transport, or paying for fuel, parking, and road tolls with driving. I mean, to be honest, I don't know why would you drive here in the first place since there's so much traffic. It's a valid thing to complain about the time you're wasting, but you just get used to it. Like 1 hour commute to the city and 1 hour back ends up sounding pretty reasonable. I mean, you can always kill the time and just watch Instagram reels for the whole trip, because it could have been worse, since you could have lived in Bonnyrigg. Sydney is well known for its cool tourist landmarks you can encounter. The Harbour Bridge, the Opera House, and the Rocks for example. I mean, yeah, they're pretty cool to look at when it's your first time in Sydney, but then afterwards you'll be like, so what now? Every time I take my interstate friends around Sydney, they expect me to be the tour guide. But the only things we do here is to eat whatever cuisine is available. Like, you go here for Chinese food, here for Indian, and here for Vietnamese. And then after we eat, we just walk around the area, I guess. Nah, I just lied. We actually just go to either of the 15 different arcades around here and just play Mai Mai all day. Okay, apart from rotting at the arcade, it feels like there's really nothing to do here. But I know I'm wrong, since there are plenty of events that go on throughout the year to keep you occupied. Starting off with Vivid, Sydney's annual light festival. And trust me, it is not worth going. It's just fucking lights, and then the food vendors overcharge you. Like, it's $10 for a potato on a stick. You're fucking joking, right? If you like consuming merchandise, then there's a lot of artist alleys, as well as big conventions like Oz Comic Con and Supernova for you nerds, and then Smash Cons for all you weeaboos. Are you into hardstyle or hunting for ABG baddies? Then there's plenty of raves you can attend. You could join a K-pop dance group, a language exchange program, make friends at a pub, or even start bouldering with the amount of gyms there are. There's so many possibilities, so why do I keep going back to my mind. This game sucks. So it has been nearly a year since I moved here, and I consider moving back plenty of times. I just don't want to waste hours of my life sitting on trains and dealing with constant delays. I don't want to spend chunks of my paycheck on rent and food. I don't want to see all the weird, annoying, and toxic people, since a higher population means a higher chance of encountering such people. But despite all of that, I end up staying here because Sydney is all that I wanted. My life felt stagnant before I moved. I was stuck jumping from casual jobs every couple of months since there was barely any actual jobs to apply for, a smaller pool of people to meet, and no interesting events happening around my area, which all prevented me growing as a person since I wasn't experiencing new things. I wanted a new start because I wasn't happy with the life I had, so even when I moved to Sydney with a shittier job and located far away from all my friends and family back home, it sounded like it was a downgrade from my experience back at home, but I still remain optimistic since I got to experience a brand new life. I got to attend plenty of events around my area, appreciate foods from different cultures, meet a variety of people, and there's so much more to explore within the city since it's so big. From the diversity of each suburb to the culture and inside jokes this place has. Now I understand why people talk shit about the public transport system, or how it feels like you're in mainland China sometimes. They sound like simple things, but it is what really makes Sydney unique. Even though I didn't start off with the best conditions, and there's so many issues when it comes to living here, being in Sydney meant that I was actually closer to living the life I want.